I'm a breast cancer survivor. I'm retired. I was a school psychologist, and pretty much I just live my life and enjoy it. I was first diagnosed in October of 2000. My doctor had retired, and I had a new doctor, and he felt the lump. And he said to me, "Is this something new?" And I said, yeah, it must be. So he had me feel it, and it was the right breast, and it was just under the nipple. So even if I had been doing my own exams, which most women don't, and they don't do it the correct way, I never would have felt it. I wouldn't have pushed under there. So it turned out I had like a 5-centimeter tumor that never showed up on a mammogram. The day I got told that I had cancer, I was supposed to be going away for the weekend, and my doctor called me and he said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have cancer, but you are going to be all right. And I still get emotional. From the moment he told me that, I knew I was going to be okay. It's crazy after all these years. I never really recovered very well from that first chemo. I was nauseous as can be, like the whole time. But after that first chemo, I ended up in the hospital for 5 days. And they never found out what the infection was, but, when your immune system is like gone, something affects you. I had 6 treatments of the AC, and then I had the 6 treatments of the Taxol. And I was also in a clinical trial for Herceptin. And I also had the 6 weeks of radiation every day. Well, breast cancer didn't really run in my family. My father's sister had it years ago. My mother had lymphoma, and she died of that at the age of 66. So here I was just turning 50. My husband planned this big 50th birthday party for me, and lo and behold, I had cancer, and 4 days after my birthday, I had the surgery. So we canceled the party, but so after that, I always felt like, well, if I live past 66, that's good, and I have. Actually, I live on a lake, so it was really nice when I finished my treatment. It was summer, so we could have a big outside party, and we called it a celebration of life party. So it was like my belated birthday. I have a daughter, and my husband has 5 children. But that was telling my daughter and telling my father, I couldn't do it. I had to have my husband do it. I'm a pretty emotional person, and I just couldn't do it. But when I did have my surgery and my first chemo and the first round of my other chemo, I had my sister come up. But her I could tell because she's a nurse, and I don't know, she's my sister, but telling my father and my daughter, couldn't do it. Right, my cancer came back 5 years later, and it wasn't really unexpected. I kind of was like sort of waiting for it to happen because the type of cancer I had with the HER2 positive, there was a lot of recurrence with that. It was very small. I went for a mammogram. They say, we think we see something, but we're not sure. Then the sonogram was like, oh, we can't really get a good picture of it. So I said, well, time for the MRI, even though it wasn't the year for the MRI. And, so I go for it, and they make me sign my life away saying, like, if the insurance doesn't pay for this, you'll pay for it. I'm like, I'll pay for it, whatever. That whole time, I kept thinking to myself, you know what? I don't care if it's benign or cancerous, I'm having these both taken off. It's like, I can't go through this, another time. So I said to my husband, I said, you don't get a say in this, but they're coming off no matter what. He's like, whatever, it's your body. So it turned out to be cancer. So I said, well, I want mastectomy and I want a double. I was like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. So I went out and bought a wig, different wig. I thought, oh, let me get a new wig. I had my port put in, and then right after that, my doctor said, they didn't test your tumor for the HER2. So they tested my tumor for that, and it turned out the Herceptin did its job, and the tumor didn't express the HER2 thing anymore. So my doctor said, well, you don't need chemo. He says, if you're opting for mastectomy, that's all you need. And I was like, hallelujah. So I still have that wig and my original wig because I am superstitious. I will never get rid of them. The most traumatic moment of having cancer is being told you have cancer. The first time it was very traumatic, even the second time. And my husband is a prostate cancer survivor. And when he came home and told me he had prostate cancer, it's the same horrible feeling that you get. Like my immediate feeling when I was told I had cancer was, you're gonna die. And the second time, excuse me, I felt the same way. It's like, okay, I don't feel that way about other people who have cancer. Like I don't think they're gonna die. It's an ongoing battle. I think when you've had cancer, for me, it's always in the back of my mind. I am a 4-time Iron Girl, which I'm very proud of. I went to watch an Iron Girl with a friend of mine whose daughter was in it, and we were going to see her come through the finish line. And I live on Oneida Lake, so I'd always heard about the Iron Girl and always thought those women are crazy. I don't know why anybody would do it. But as I was there watching the people crossing the finish line, I was like, okay, if that woman can do it, I can do it. I kept saying that because there were women of every shape and size and physical capability. I mean, there are some women that, like for the 5K, just walked it. So I just, right then and there, decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And I was turning 60 years old, and people tell you you can't, so you become determined that you can. And I just thought, you know what, I conquered cancer, I can do this. I asked my sister to come up and do my first Iron Girl with me. She is athletic. She didn't even train for it and did it. So I did the first one, and I was very happy with it, except I didn't really know how to swim when I did the first one. Right after it, my sister and I said, we are never doing this again, never. And then the next day, we're sitting there, we said, we should do it one more time. So I said to her, I will do it one more time, but I have to learn how to swim. And the second Iron Girl, I cut 45 minutes off of my time because I had a better bike and I knew how to swim. I decided not to have reconstruction. Part of it was I just felt like if I'm not going to have real breasts, then I don't really need breasts. And I just decided to get prosthesis. And I've never regretted my decision. And my husband, he's always been fine with it. He just figures it's my body, and he's a really great guy, so he didn't care. Unfortunately, since having a mastectomy and wearing prosthesis, I have to buy very expensive bathing suits. They're made with the pockets for the prosthesis. So I do wear them when I swim. And when I was doing the Iron Girl, I thought, well, anything that'll help me stay buoyant will be good. So I did wear them. After having a mastectomy and having had cancer, I've got scars all over my body, 2 scars from the ports, and I've got, horrendous scars from the mastectomy. And having had radiation affected how the scars look, too. So I don't look in the mirror a whole lot, but I feel very feminine, and when I get dressed up, I feel sexy. My regular day-to-day, I don't. One of the main things I tell people is get involved with a support group. I was a school psychologist, and I ran groups for kids, banana splits groups for kids with divorced parents, and just other kinds of groups. And being with people who know what you're going through is really important. And a support group is also important because you hear how treatment affects different people, and you kind of know what to expect. And the other piece of advice I always give is be your own advocate. Don't take no for an answer. Doctors don't know everything, and they don't know how you feel. So if you feel strongly about something, make yourself heard. That I learned the hard way. I'm doing the Look Now project because I think people really need to know all sides of having breast cancer. And, what people see outwardly of me is not what I look like without clothes on. And I don't think people really understand that. So part of the project was the bare chest pictures, I thought people really need to see what it looks like, and I think people are curious what it looks like. And I think people just need to know that this is part of what other women live with. Even though they've finished their treatment and they're healthy, it's something that is with them for the rest of their lives.